Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the fight between Jimmy Flick and Cody Durden at UFC Fight Night Hermanson versus Vettori. This fight is going to be good. Jimmy Flick, 15-5. He's currently coming off of a 3-fight win streak. One of those wins coming inside the LFA for an LFA belt, and one of them coming on the Contender Series about 2.5 months ago against Nate Smith. He is on a 3-fight win streak right now. He's 30 years old, 5 foot 6 inches tall, and has a very, very long reach of 70.5 inches. Cody Durden is a top 90 bantamweight in the world. Moving down from bantamweight to flyweight to fight Jimmy Flick in this fight. He's actually coming off of a draw against Chris Gutierrez about 3.5 months ago. Before that was on a 7-fight win streak. He is currently the underdog in this fight card, as a plus 150 slight underdog. He's a similar age to Jimmy Flick in this fight, 29.5 years old. 5 foot 7 inches tall, a little bit of a height advantage for Cody Durden in this fight. But he definitely has a smaller reach in this fight, as Jimmy Flick has a 70.5 inch reach, while Cody Durden only has a 67 inch reach, leaving at about a 4 inch reach for Jimmy Flick in this fight. Alright, so as I said at the beginning of this video, Jimmy Flick is currently the minus 180 slight favorite to win this fight. Cody Durden the plus 150 slight underdog to win this fight. But aside from that, even though Jimmy Flick is that small of a favorite, he's a slight favorite, minus 180. That's not that big of a favorite for this fight. But aside from that, if you look for the Tapology predictions, out of 677 votes, which is a pretty good sample size, 82% of the vote are going for Jimmy Flick to win this fight, mainly by submission. Everyone thinks he's going to win this fight by submission. Some people do think he's going to win the fight by unanimous decision, and a small group of people think he's going to go out there and get a knockout in this fight. I think the knockout is quite unlikely. 18% of the vote are going for Cody Durden to win this fight, mainly by unanimous decision, but some people do think he's going to win the fight by knockout in the first or second round. Alright, so because so many people think that Jimmy Flick is going to win the fight by submission, literally like 500 out of 677 votes think that Jimmy Flick is going to win the fight by submission in this fight, you have to be wondering, how is this man rated so highly on the submission game? And look at this man's record, 15-5. He started his career back in 2010. I believe inside of Bellator with a unanimous decision win, followed by 2 submission wins in Texas Regional and IXFA Extreme Fighting, followed by a second round Von Flue choke submission and a first round arm triangle choke submission, followed by yet another first round arm triangle choke submission in just 1 minute in that very first round. Lost his next fight inside of Legacy FC against Will Campuzano by second round knockout, but in the first round he was absolutely dominating. Just got caught at the beginning of that second round going for a takedown. Got knocked out with a knee, and he was supposed to fight 5 other people in 2013 and in 2014, but he ended up having a 2-year layoff, as his next 5 fight schedule ended up getting canceled, all 5 of them, and 2 years later, after that loss to Will Campuzano, he ended up coming back with a win over Sean O'Grady, joined King of the Cage, lost his fight there to Tim Sosa, came back after that with a first-round submission win over Tavares Collins. Lost his next fight to Levy Moles by second-round TKO in Legacy FC yet again. Came back with a first-round submission win over Benjamin Vasquez and a third-round guillotine submission inside the LFA against Johnny Bedford. But lost his next fight outside of the UFC against Chris Gutierrez by third-round knockout in the fight that I actually think he was winning. If he didn't get knocked out in that third round, I'm pretty sure he would have won that fight by unanimous decision, but he ended up getting caught with just 2 minutes left in that fight. Came back after that loss with a second round submission by shoulder choke, followed by a second round arm triangle choke submission over CJ Hamilton. Lost his next fight to Ray Rodriguez by second round knockout. Came back with a first round submission, joined the LFA, and got a main event spot at LFA 86 against Greg Fisher for the vacant flyweight championship, and he ended up winning the fight by first round arm triangle choke submission. And the UFC was like, wow, this man just went in there on his first fight back inside of the LFA and ended up getting a first round submission in literally just 38 seconds over Greg Fisher, who is 10-2 right now, and then got a shot on the Dana White's Contender Series, where he was actually an underdog against Nate Smith. I literally saw this fight. I was like, how in the world is Jimmy Flick an underdog? I mean, he wasn't that big of an underdog, like plus 140, plus 130, somewhere around there, but I was like, there's no way he's that big of an underdog. He has such good submissions, so many submissions in his career, and he absolutely dominated that fight against Nate Smith. For the first and second round, he went for so many submissions. I believe he went for 12 different types of submissions in that first and second round. And in the third round, finally got a third round arm triangle choke submission, getting him this shot inside the UFC against Cody Durden. Alright, now let's take a look at his opponent, Cody Durden, 11-2-1. It's a pretty good record in the bantamweight division, moving down from bantamweight to fight Jimmy Flick in this fight. He started his career back in 2016, only 4 years as a pro MMA fighter, but he did very, very good at the start of his career with a first-round knockout, a first-round rear naked choke submission, a unanimous decision, and then a first-round guillotine choke submission, but ended up losing his next fight to Jared Scoggins by unanimous decision. Lost his next fight after that to Ryan Hollis by second-round rear naked choke submission as well, and then came back after that with a first-round knockout, a third-round armbar submission, had a boxing bout, won that by unanimous decision, had a kickboxing bout, won that also by unanimous decision, went back to MMA in 2019, got a first-round TKO win, a first-round armbar submission, and a second-round knockout over Dre Miley, and a first-round rear naked choke submission at the beginning of this year against Varen Webb, followed by a first-round knockout over John Sweeney, getting him a shot inside the UFC. Where in his first fight inside the promotion, which I believe was back in August, he ended up getting a draw against Chris Gutierrez, and the reason it was a draw, it wasn't because of some weird groin shot, some eye poke, some illegal elbow to the nuts. I don't even know. There's nothing illegal really happened. Literally, Chris Gutierrez ended up losing that first round 10-8. Cody Durden absolutely dominated that first round, cutting Chris Gutierrez open, I believe. But he got really, really gassed, and in the second and third round, he just got absolutely dominated, lost his second and third round, 10-9, 10-9, making these scorecards 28-28 for the unanimous decision draw, and he looks to come back with a first win inside the UFC. So does Jimmy Flick, who's on a nice streak right now, a 3-fight win streak, one of those in the LFA for the flyweight championship, and one of them on the Contender Series. Absolutely dominant submission guy. I mean, Jimmy Flick, his submission game is just so good. I mean, if you look at the fight that's after this one between Matt Wiman and Jordan Leavitt, we just did a prediction on that one, so make sure to go check that prediction out. But I had Jordan Leavitt winning that fight, probably by submission in the first or second round. He's a pretty similar guy to Jimmy Flick. He likes to take you down, go for submission after submission after submission. He just also got his Contender Series win and is coming for his UFC debut and to get a nice win over Matt Wiman. Jimmy Flick is the exact same as Jordan Leavitt. He likes to take you down, go for those submissions. And in his last fight, he did end up getting it in the third round. But he is so relentless with going for submissions literally every single second of the fight. But Cody Durden, I think, has very, very good wrestling. He can stuff a lot of Jimmy Flick's takedowns, but I do think Jimmy Flick will get a couple of takedowns in this fight. I'm predicting he'll get 4 takedowns in the fight, probably 2 in that first round and 1 in both of the second and the third round. I don't really think Jimmy Flick's going to get a submission. It's very, very likely that he does get a submission in this fight, but I do think this fight goes all the way, and either Jimmy Flick wins the fight by 30-27 or 30-26. I think he's going to absolutely dominate Cody Durden on the ground and get that unanimous decision. Alright guys, if you agree or disagree with my prediction, make sure to put in the comment section below who you guys think is going to win this fight. Am I crazy thinking that Jimmy Flick is going to win this fight? I mean, if I'm crazy, then that means so many other people are crazy because 82% of the Tapology predictions are going for Jimmy Flick. That is absolutely insane. The only other time where you see like 80% people going for someone or 90% were with Jordan Leavitt. I mean, if you look at those Tapology predictions, literally 95% of those votes were going for Jordan Leavitt. That's absolutely insane. But yeah, I think Jimmy Flick is going to dominate this fight, get that unanimous decision. Make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and turn on the post notifications so you don't miss the absolute best MMA content out there. It's been fun, but I'm out of here.